A founder came to me not long ago. Imagine 6 figures in, about 3 years deep, and he knew his market, his offer, everything that needed to happen for him to scale. But he couldn't make himself do it. Like, he couldn't consistently do the most important work, the thing that would eventually help him get to 7 figures. And he had a whole list of projects, but most of them stayed untouched. He was getting run by his business without building the capacity to break through. And every night he will go to bed a little bit more disappointed with himself. And you probably know that feeling too. You're tired, but not from working hard, but from not showing up the way you know you're capable of. And here's what nobody tells you as a founder. Your strategy is never a problem, especially in the age of AI. You can literally ask ChatGPT to give you a strategy to scale, and it's probably gonna get it right. But the problem is actually doing the work, actually executing on that strategy. Because if you don't do what you know you need to do, guess what? You become the bottleneck in your business. You are the ceiling of your revenue. And the problem, again, is not knowing what to do. It's not having the right goals. It's not even not having the right systems. No, it's your brain wiring. Your wiring is a brain automatic response under stress. And if the moment things get hard, your brain appraises it as a threat, your body tightens and you become anxious and you start doing something easier. And that is a universal pattern. And that is just how brains work until you train them. That is the most important thing you have to do in your business if you truly want to succeed, because you don't execute as you intend to. You execute on what you're wired to. Your defaults literally create the ceiling on your business. And your brain does not care about your revenue goals. It doesn't care about who you're trying to become. It only cares about one thing: keeping you safe. Because safe means familiar. Safe means avoiding the hard thing that might not work. So every time you sit down on something that has the possibility of failing, guess what happened? Your brain flags it as a danger. And that is not a personal weakness, my friend. That is exactly how brains work. And that is what you need to be retraining. And just do a quick self-test. Can you sit down right now and do 2 focus blocks of 90 minutes each on the most important thing of your business? If the answer is no, you have a capacity ceiling that no amount of information is going to solve. And just think about the last 6 months or 12 months or 2 years. Sometimes I talk to founders who've been stuck at the same level for 3 years. Think about all the content you didn't publish, all the outreach you didn't do, all the proposals you didn't send, all the stuff you know you needed to do and you ended up not doing it. Every one of those is a number, a real number that now is compounding against you. And if this is you, if you're operating at 30% of your potential, realize that you're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, there's nothing to fix, but there's a lot to train. And if you don't train it, you're gonna be stuck in the same place. And the problem with this is that the more you execute without really delivering on your promises, the more your self-trust quietly erodes, the belief in your own words, the trust in your own intentions. And you can tell yourself this quarter is different, but somehow underneath it all, you know it probably won't be. And if you do that for long, then you stop having an execution problem and you start having an identity problem rooted in a brain that is wired for the wrong things. Now, how do you rewire your brain? Because there's a lot of bullshit and woo-woo about this concept, but the science is very clear. It all hinges on neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through deliberate repetition under right conditions, exposing yourself to the hard work you need to do and building capacity in the face of resistance and recovering in a way that helps your brain eliminate all the stress that it has accumulated. And if you do this in a specific manner and you actually use feedback loops to improve it over time, your brain starts getting much better at the hard work it knows it needs to do. And that is something you can start doing right now. I want you to sit down on the most important task you know you've been avoiding, the one that you always feel the urge to switch from, and go hard against it. And every time your brain throws resistance at you, I want you to use a little bit of deliberate breath work. I want you to breathe deeply, isolate that resistance, let it go, and get back to the track. And do that for 90 minutes on that task. Make that the first ask of the task as small as it needs to be, but actually do it. Because that is gonna have a most profound effect on you as a founder than anything else that you tried today. So that is my experiment for you. 90 minutes on the hardest task that you have been avoiding. Now back to the founder I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Within 3 weeks, something shifted because he started feeling differently. He started doing things that he wasn't doing before. Revenue hasn't yet moved. He hasn't really launched anything new, but he started like getting to grips with all the resistance and all the doubts and all the beliefs that he had hosted for like a decade that didn't allow him to push forward. And then something happened, a client left. And that's when he realized he was a different person. Because for the first time in his life, he didn't care. He knew he had a system he could operate on, but now he knew what to do to get more clients. And that's exactly what he started doing. He started tracking the high leverage hours, then how much focus during those hours. That gave him something we call an execution score. And that execution score over time predicts revenue, to the point that within 6 months, he had tripled his revenue. And again, he went from being semi-depressed, anxious perfectionist, paralyzed on anything that barely resembled like outreach, to being joyful, present, happy, operating from a state of flow, knowing that success is absolutely inevitable. Well, he used to think of skipping his business just to find some peace. And now he's thinking about what is he going to build with all the peace that he feels inside. And the revenue, which everybody seeks, is just proof that this is working. Those who are ahead of you, the founders who are pulling ahead, they're not smarter than you. They don't have a better strategy. They're probably not more talented, and they don't have better teams. They have better wiring. They literally train their brain to do the hard things and execute on what matters instead of what feels safe. And that's the only variable left at your level. And it's absolutely trainable. And I know because I've trained myself. I hit my head against the asphalt on a random Friday night in October 2019. And I had to relearn how to think and execute and get things done one hard task at a time. And it worked so well that I built a company around it, because you can systematically and measurably really train your ability to get stuff done. So if you're tired of not showing up at peak potential and you want a data-driven, science-backed way of training the brain to literally triple your execution capacity, book a call with us. You're gonna love what we have for you. See you in the next video.